What's up, Met fans? Welcome back. Talkin Mets with Rob. How's everybody doing? Before I get started talking about the possibility of Luis Castillo being Queens-bound, don't forget, guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit on that like button. If you're enjoying my content, want to see more, want to get notified when I post my videos and when I go live, you guys know what to do. Hit on that subscribe button, everybody. Alright, guys, so the possibility of Luis Castillo Queens-bound. Is it possible? Are the Mets serious about upgrading the rotation a little bit more? I believe so, guys. I do think the Mets, if they really think they're not going to spend money on a Carlos Rodon or a Clayton Kershaw, and they want another big arm that is younger than a Jacob deGrom, younger than Max Scherzer, they want a backup plan. If one of those two guys go down, they know they can rely on a guy like Luis Castillo. Luis Castillo, guys, is an intriguing guy in a trade. He struggled in the first half, but looked like his dominant self in the second half of 2021. I know some people don't want him and they would rather make the Mets sign a Carlos Rodon, which makes a lot of sense. But I don't know if the New York Mets are going to spend $60-70 million on Carlos Rodon over 4 or 5 years when you can trade some of your assets that you have to get a big-time arm in Luis Castillo. I would trust Luis Castillo in this rotation more than I would Carlos Rodon. I think Carlos Rodon has more upside, but Carlos Rodon is very injury prone. As much as I like Carlos Rodon's stuff, you cannot trust him when it comes to his injuries. And that's a big time concern. That is the reason why I would rather allocate that money to a back end of the rotation guy like a Kikuchi and use the other parts of their budget on bullpen arms to solidify the Mets bullpen. Luis Castillo is a no-brainer. And we will get to a trade proposal that I proposed for Luis Castillo. And we will also look at his contract so you have a better idea of what the Mets are getting. Is it a rental? Is it a couple of years? We will look at that in a little bit. But Luis Castillo is a no-brainer for the New York Mets. If the Mets are not going to spend big-time money for another rotation piece in a Rodon, Kershaw, guys that you know can step in, God forbid, if Max Scherzer or Jacob deGrom go down his injury, you know a guy like Luis Castillo can step in. Might not be as great as those guys, but you feel confident that he can give you a solid 6 innings with 10-11 strikeouts and be a dominant starting pitcher. And if he's really on, he can look like an ace of the staff. You were getting the Reds' ace. He is not better than Jacob deGrom. He is not better than Max Scherzer. But you can feel the confidence in Luis Castillo when he goes out there every 5th day. And you have a backup plan if one of those two front-line starters in deGrom and Scherzer go out. So let's look at his contract so we have a better idea of how long we would have Luis Castillo for. So in 2022, he has a salary of $7.5 million. Which is very, very reasonable for a caliber pitcher in Luis Castillo. And he also is arbitration eligible for 2023. So the New York Mets, if they trade for Luis Castillo, will have 2 years of Luis Castillo at the age of 29 and 30 years old. So you're getting him right in his prime. And even if he's very good, maybe the Mets will want to extend him 4 or 5 plus years in his middle of the 30-year range would be a really nice idea. But focusing in on 2022 and 2023 is something that the Mets have to look into. Because not only do you have to trust a deGrom who has question marks, let's be honest, and a Max Scherzer who's in its late to mid-30s with injuries as well. You need a guy where you can step in, and Luis Castillo is that guy. At least you know you have him for 2 more years, no matter what, if you make that trade. So $7.5 million in 2022 and arbitration eligible in 2023, which in perspective, he'll probably get around $10-11 million depending on, obviously it's based on performance. We don't really know what the CBA is going to entail with arbitration eligible players, but going on the rules that we currently have, he'll probably make around $10-11 million in 2023, which is still reasonable for the type of impact Luis Castillo can have on a Mets team. So, when it comes to Luis Castillo, what will we have to give to get Luis Castillo? It's not going to be cheap. It's going to hurt a little bit. But looking at the signings the Mets already made with Marte, Kana, and Escobar, and whatever other signings, I don't expect them to make any deals that are probably going to go much more than 4 years. So what does that tell you? That tells you that the New York Mets have a 3 to 4 year window, or better yet, 2 to 4 year window to win a World Series. So what does that tell you? The New York Mets are willing to make a trade for a 2 to 4 year window, trading prospects to get that World Series within the next 2 to 4 years. That's what they're telling you with all these contracts they've been given. So what is the trade to get Luis Castillo? Well, here it is, guys. The Mets would trade Jeff McNeil, Ronnie Mauricio, the number 3 prospect in their system, estimated time of arrival 2023. Obviously, is the shortstop in the Mets system, but according to the Mets, he might actually play some outfield, so there's an option there for the Reds. And Calvin Ziegler, which is ranked number 9th in the Mets top prospect list, and estimated time of arrival of 2025. So you give them a right-handed starting pitcher that's in your top 10. You give them a top 3 prospect in your system in Ronnie Mauricio, with everybody saying he is going to be an all-star, and you give an everyday player already in Jeff McNeil, who can play second, third, right field, left field. He gives the Reds options, and you already give him a major league rated player who has the potential to hit over 300 and be a decent defensive player. So that is your trade right there, guys. I think it's worth it for both teams. You're getting an everyday player and 2 top 10 prospects for Luis Castillo. And let's be honest, guys, the Reds are technically rebuilding. Even though they don't look it, they got a lot of aging players and contracts they're looking to get rid of as well. So it really makes sense for them to get what they can for Luis Castillo. And they have an asset that they can get it back very quickly. And getting an everyday player and 2 top 10 prospects is a very fair deal for the Reds. And getting Castillo is a no-brainer for the Mets. So the New York Mets have to really focus in on that and do this trade post-lockout. Because we all know, guys, when this lockout ends, it's going to be a fury of free agent signings, a fury of trades right before spring training, probably during spring training. So there's a lot to look into. But the New York Mets, if they're not going to spend money on starting pitching on the front line of the rotation, they need to make a trade for Luis Castillo. So that is your trade guy. McNeil, Mauricio, and Ziegler going to the Reds for Luis Castillo. Once again, guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit on that like button. If you're enjoying my content, want to see more, want to get notified when I post my videos and when I go live, you guys know what to do. Hit on that subscribe button, everybody. I really appreciate all the support, guys. And as always, Met fans, let's go Mets.